So now it's time to put the resin and the glass on the crab. So I want to show you what I do. Actually, it's this way. What I do to make sure that this canvas, that right now I can touch it and it's moving. So what that means is if I put glass on here, it's going to make it heavier, and then this part's going to scoop down low, and then this will scoop up high, and you will have a clean finish around your edges. So this is what I do. I'm going to flip this over, and I have cut 2 pieces of styrofoam that fit in this 8x10. Okay, and the reason I do 2 is because my risers are 1 inch, and I want to make sure that everything is level. So when I turn this back over, because of my risers, let me show you. I'm going to go on and put them under here. My risers, there's still that little bit of movement. So my solution to that is I found these little things that I came off of some of my art stuff, and it just is the perfect size to keep everything rock hard. So that is my tip to you. Now it could be a book, whatever you have that will fit in this slot. Here I go again, upside down. Whatever will fit in this slot is what you're wanting to use. Now, the next most important thing before you get started is you also want to make sure it's level. Because if you don't, you will have resin that pours over on one side and may get thinner on the other. So you want to take a level and make sure that this is center. Okay, so my board, if you can see this, it is not quite level. So what I end up doing is I'll take one of my stir sticks and I put under on top of my thing here, and there it is. It's perfectly level that way. Let's make sure that we are almost there. So I'm going to take this one, and I'm going to need to probably raise this up. We'll see. You also don't want them sticking out. So I need a small one. So I'm going to put a small one here. And it's going to take one more. So let me get another small one. Anything that you've got that will bring it up. So there's 2 on this side. No, that didn't work. That's too much. Let me see here. If I just put, okay. So I believe we're level there. So we're level there now. Let's double check this side again. And we're level there. So now we have a perfectly level surface to start with before we go any further. Okay, so now it is time to put glass. And what we're going to do is we're going to put little bubbles here to magnify his eyes. And then we're going to put glass here. And then I think I'll probably put some glass in right here and maybe down in here as well. But we're going to leave the others. We're not going to completely do glass, but we also are going to put some shards right here on these two, whatever they are. So you're going to need glue, and what I like to use is the Clear Gel Tacky Glue by Aleene's. This is just the best stuff. So we're going to go on and we'll go on and put the eyes on and see how that magnifies those. It's just so cool how they magnify on there. So let's get my glue down there. Come on. And you don't need a lot. You just need a drop. Not even a drop. You need a just, I mean, ever so little. And I like to go on and put my eyes on first so that I make sure that they're dry. Oop. Okay. So those will be drying. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back, and I think I will go on and put these shards here and get those out of the way. And once again, you don't need a lot of glue. So if you purchased a supply kit, you will find that there are 2 pieces. You'll find that there are shards. These are the shards, if you can see that. So I'm looking for one. Let's see. I'm going to try to make sure everybody's is pretty much the same size. So I'm going to put this one right here. Since this one is curved, let me see if this one will go in there. So what I'm going to try to do, I'm going to attempt to, I'm going to put 2 together to do this. So all you have to do is just push them up next to each other. And there we go. So that is it. That's all you need for the shards. Okay, so now let's start with the glass. All right, so you want to come back and you want to just do a very thin bead. What you're doing is just doing an outline to help keep your glass where it's supposed to be and it doesn't travel outside that spot. So I am just doing an outline. Make sure I've got that. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to put, also, you do not want to pile it up so high, because what you'll find if you do is that you're not going to be able to see these beautiful colors that we have painted in here. So you want to be very careful. And another thing is you want to make sure that you keep your paint, your glass inside what you're doing. So what I do is I always use my stir stick that is in your kit, and I push the glass in. And I like to bring it outside and push in. I just find it easier to push the glass in to make sure it's right where it's supposed to be. And the reason you want to make sure that it is exactly inside, because let me tell you something. If you have a piece, let's say right there, I promise you that every time you look at your finished product, the very first thing you're going to see is that one. And it will drive you nuts. It will drive you nuts. So I'm just going to continue to put my glass in here. Just kind of bringing it around. And so I go through my glass. I put it in my hand, go through my glass to make sure that like that one right there, it just needs to be broken up a little bit more. But I like smaller pieces. So I pretty much, when I'm doing a project like this, I'm wanting to kind of, if I can, keep them all in the same range or close to it. But as you see, I'm still going outside the lines, and I'm going to push it back in. Okay, so get my little stir stick again. Push these in. And you're trying to also keep it level. See, that needs to come out. And that needs to come out. Okay, so we're going to continue to bring in our glass. Sometimes you have to push it back out and pull it back in. And that looks like it's a little low right there, so I'm going to put a little bit more right there. So now I am going back and looking closely to make sure everything is in its lines. And this is looking really good. Really good. Just a couple that I see that need to have a little piece of glass here and there. So I'm just coming back in and adding it. Okay, so that is pretty level right there. So now let's come over here and once I get my glue back down. So I'm just kind of outlining just that spot. Okay. Now, if you get a bunch of those thicker pieces of glass in your kit and you want them more broken down, just put them in a mayonnaise jar a little bit at a time and shake, shake, shake. And then get a strainer and strain your glass so that you get all that glass dust out. And do not breathe in while you're doing that. Don't you have your face right over it either. Okay, so that one's done. It's looking good. Come over here. Sometimes you'll find just that perfect little piece and you're thinking, oh yeah, that should go right there, right there. All right, so let's see what we got here. I'll take these two right here and push them right there. Okay, so we've got that one. And then let's just come down here and let's do this one. Come on, glue. Don't fail me now. And make sure you sign your piece. You were provided a liner pen if you got a kit. So use that to sign your name. So I'm just literally placing these in here. Okay. And then we're going to put some in here. And I'm picking out the smallest ones, pieces of glass, smallest pieces of glass to do this. And you see I start on the outside and I bring it in. Well, I'm attempting to bring it in. And then I'm going to look for a really tiny piece. Here's one. And put it right there. Okay. So let me see if I can bring this down and show you. Hold on. Get it down a little bit more. Okay, so we have the glass right there and there. And then here's our glass on the body. And then here's the glass that we did on the two ends. Now, if you have glass left and you want to use more, have at it. All right, let me bring this up a little bit. Okay, let me get you back to where I need you to be. Oh, hold on. Bear with me just a moment. Okay, so there's the size of the canvas. So now we are ready to do our resin. And the resin is a 50-50 split. You cannot use more of one than the other. You'll have a mess. So you will use what I've given you. You may have more than you need, but it is a 50-50 split. So hang on. All right, so now what you need to do is take one of your brushes and you want to come around and make sure that you have brushed everything on your canvas to make sure you don't have any little teeny weeny fragments still hanging around. So I am brushing everything here. Okay. Now I have mixed my resin 50-50. And now you're going to set the timer for 3 minutes and you're going to stir. You're not going to whip. You're going to stir like this for 3 full minutes. Hey, Alexa, set the timer for 3 minutes.
3 minutes, starting now.
So scrape the sides and the bottom and just stir in this, this, don't go whipping it or you'll have a whole bunch of air bubbles, and don't go like this. You want to stir it. And it looks cloudy now, and I keep going back and forth on mine. I don't know if that makes any difference, but I do. And I continually scrape, and it will start to get clear. So I'm going to speed this up so you're not sitting here for 3 minutes just watching me stir. Alexa, turn off the timer. Okay, I want to back up just a minute here. You have a set of gloves in your supply box. Make sure you're wearing your gloves when you are pouring your materials, your resin into your cup, and when you are pouring. So it's very important that you wear your gloves because you do not want this on your skin. You'd have a mess. Be very careful you don't get your long hair um, tied up into this resin too, or you'll have to cut it. Um, and then a very important thing is you want to make sure you have some kind of plastic over your work area because this is probably going to drip and you don't want to ruin whatever piece of furniture or whatever you're using to do your project on. So make sure you cover it with plastic. Don't cover it with some type of paper, or you'll find that your whatever you use as a riser will be stuck to the paper and you can't get it off. So, and you want to make sure that what you're using as your risers are in the inside and you cannot see them on the outside. Because if you do, the resin will get on those, it will attach itself to your piece of art. So make sure it's just inside. So those are important little things that I should have told you at the beginning. Okay, so now you take your stir stick and you just, as you see, I'm not piling it on. You want to drizzle it on. Don't pour it on at all, period. Do not pour it on. Okay, so I'm going to continue. And do you see how the color is now coming through? It's amazing, isn't it? Just amazing. So when I see these spots that are still kind of white, I come back and I just put a little drop on them to make sure everything's covered. All right, so I always do all the glass parts first. But I use clear glass because there are so many beautiful colors in this piece that we want to show them off. So I want to make sure that everything is covered. And you see, I'm not using a whole lot. I'm just drizzling. Okay, now I'm going to start adding it everywhere. You want to get it to the edges. I'm trying to keep it from pouring over, but it's going to do it. Whether you like it or not, it's going to do it. Especially if you're not level. So make sure that your piece is level. This is going to be so pretty. Also, another reason that I do all the glass first is because I want to see how much seeps out. And then that means I don't have to add so much resin to those areas. But you definitely want to make sure that everything is covered because for example, you see these little spaces right there? Can you see those? What's going to happen if I don't make sure everything is covered, you're going to see that it's not going to finish. You're going to have spaces there, and that'll be the first thing you see besides your messed up glass. So I'm trying to tell you what, let me turn this light off. And I'm hoping, let me get this one closer. I'm hoping that you can see that better. I sure hope so. Because my overhead light just blinds you and you can't actually see anything about that resin. So I'm just bringing it, I'm kind of wiping it right there to the edge. Let me also get right here. So now you're going to see bubbles in here. Even though you stirred slow, you're going to see bubbles. So that's why you need to use one of those little kitchen torches. I get mine on Amazon. And as you see, I put it on sparingly, but I don't like, I want resin on there. I don't want to like go like that and just get it barely. I'm going to go back and turn the light on, even though it's going to blind you again. I want you to be able to see what we're doing. This is also self-leveling. So it'll level itself out. All right. On the downhill stretch. Let me bring you back up there. We are almost there. So I am now bringing my head down and I'm looking at all angles to make sure that everything is covered. And I have, out of 2 ounces, I have 1/4 of an ounce left. And I'm going to end up wiping that all around here. But I'm going to go on and take my kitchen torch here and I'm going to torch this. Now, when I do this, you do not want to get down here. You don't want to hold it on a spot. You don't want to hold it down. You don't want to get down close. You want to bring it up about 5 or 6 inches, and you want to move it quickly. So let me bring you up so that you can see a little bit better of what I am talking about. Okay, so turn it on. Now watch how quickly I do this. And then I go up and down with it. Back and forth again. And that's it. That's it. Now what you want to do is you want to look at it and see if you see any little things that's not supposed to be there. So I get back down again and I look and make sure that I don't have any empty holes. Right there. And I see one little spot right there that is like the glass didn't get there. So mine is so perfect, thank goodness, that I don't have to do my sides. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to touch the resin. Oops, I just hit it. And I'm going to lightly start rubbing that on. And you don't want to put much on your hand. All you're wanting to do is to get the shine. That's all you want. So getting a little bit more, and I'm coming across here, and I'm just going back and forth, making sure that I am covering it, pushing down. Like I said, I don't want it loaded. So again, coming on this side, and I just kind of run it down, and then I start just kind of massaging it in, just making sure, going up and down and around to get that covered. Okay, so just now I need the bottom. And see, it's so nice when you make sure you've got it really level, because then you don't have all that running going on. So if you will put your resin on like you saw me do, you'll have plenty of resin. Don't flood it. No need for floods. This is so pretty. If you see anything that looks kind of cloudy, like little spots that are too cloudy, it might be your weather conditions. So just tap into those, whatever you see. And if you find that there's a little piece of residue in there, you just want to keep working and scooping it out with something. I'm using a skewer, but you can get them at the grocery store. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, I still have 1/4 of an ounce left here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my paper towel and I folded it and I'm going to put it over my finger like that. And I'm just going to go down and pretty much wipe the resin back off of the sides. Okay, so we're pretty much done here. But what I want you to do is I want you to set a timer for 50 minutes. And when that 50 minutes is over with, I want you to come back out again and I want you to wipe these sides again. And if you see any little droplets hanging from the bottom, just take your stir stick and wipe those off as well. So if you also have a cover that you can cover your piece with to keep any dust, bugs off, put that on. So I'm going to show you what I have. I haven't checked this one to make sure it works. So let's see if this is going to be a good size. Yes. Okay, so let me give you the measurements on this. You can get this at Target, Walmart, any of those. It's 16.5 by 11.25 from outside to outside. So I'm just going to put this over and then I'll take it off when I go to wipe the edges. I'll put it back on and I'll leave it for 24 hours. It's going to be hardened at 12, but I wait 24 hours because you want it to cure. And if you're going to send this off to someone, you want to wait 3 days before you start wrapping it up because you don't want anything to stick to it. You want it to really cure.